I cannot explain the feeling that I feel, y'all. At this big age of 47, I finally did it. Hey y'all, if it's your first time here, welcome. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. This is Suki J. How are you all doing? On this channel, I focus on health and wellness, personal growth and motivation, and I am here today to share a very personal testimony, a very personal accomplishment that I have recently reached, a goal that I set. I am a single mother of 2 teenage sons, and it has not been an easy road. One thing that's been very hard to do while trying to stay afloat with all my bills and everything is to save. I have never been able to save a significant amount of money due to just trying to keep things trucking along. So I'm currently 47 years old, and I have never saved a certain amount of money that I set a goal for. At the end of last year, you know, you always see people say when you start with your emergency fund, you know, save at least $1,000 for your emergency fund. Sad to say, I have never saved $1,000 before. Every time I try to start saving, I would get to about $200, and I would always have to dip back into it and pay bills. It would never fail, but at least I would have it there. But this time I really was like, I really need to do this. I really need to get a cushion because it's too scary out here with all this stuff going on. So at the end of 2024, I bought a 100 envelope savings book off of TikTok. I actually did a video about it. And so in my head, the first thing you want to do is decide. With any major change in life, you have to make a decision. And when you decide, you cut off any other options that don't align with that decision. So I knew no matter what, I needed to do what I need to do to reach this goal. I started with buying a little book, you know, for motivation. And, excuse me. With the book, with the 100 envelopes, you end up saving $5,050. So that wasn't necessarily my goal, but I just liked the idea of having something at home that I could physically put money in, trying a little something different, because up to that point I had saved online. So that's how I started. The next thing I did was I decided that, you know, I was going to try to start cutting back on certain expenses that were unnecessary, eating out, all the, you know, too much, things like that, to start trying to put, even if just $1 away or $2 away. I also increased my giving. Believe it or not, you would think it would be the opposite, right? To reduce it. But I actually started to increase my giving with my local church. And so then I believe I'm at number 4. The biggest thing I did was, I work a seasonal job that runs from May to October. So before I even started, I said, okay, every check, we're going to start something different. Every check you get from this side job, you're going to take 10% off the top. You're going to tithe it. Then the remaining amount you're going to do, I actually use ChatGPT to help me figure out my percentages, because I didn't know how I wanted to split up the rest, but I did know I wanted to take the 10% off the top. So I decided I was going to do 50% of it to debt. Is that right? No, 50% to savings, excuse me. 50% of it going to savings, 30% of it going to debt, and only 20% of it going to my general fund, my actual money. So out of the increase of the side job that I was getting, I decided that I was only going to, he's looking all at me while I'm trying to do my video. I decided that I was only going to keep to myself for a general fund, which still could mean bills, only keep 20%. The rest was going to go how I allotted it. So I had that plan before May even hit, right? Then in July, we get a standard of living raise at my job. Normally, normally when you get a raise, you just absorb it and then your expenses might go up and things like that. But this time I said, I'm going to do the same thing. So I already knew the amounts of how much my checks usually are. I get paid bi-weekly. I knew how much they normally were. So I said, okay, once I get my raise, I'm going to subtract, you know, from what I usually get to the new amount. And whatever the difference is, I'm going to do it the same way. 10% off the top to tithing. And then 50, 30, 20, the same way I did with the seasonal job. So that's what I did. I put that plan in place. I started doing that, and I slowly started to build up my savings. And then I think there was one time I hit 200. It was probably a couple times I hit 200 and then I slid back down. I'm like, here we go again. But I was determined. I'm like, it has to be different this time. kept pushing. Finally, one time I got here recently. So today's November 11th. It was August. We're in 2025. It was August, y'all. I got up to only $87 away from hitting 1,000. And then I had to get a car repair, and it knocked me back $300. I wanted to scream because I was so close. But guess what? I had it to pay my car with. And I was so happy that I did. I was sad for a second, but then I was happy. So then I kept pushing. And y'all, I'm happy to announce, as of November 7th, 2025, I hit $1,000 save! I hit $1,000! I cannot explain the feeling that I feel, y'all. At this big age of 47, I finally did it. And now, it's not just the amount. It's the muscle. The muscle that has built. I am so in love with savings. I look for opportunities. I'm already gearing up for 2026. Like, what savings challenges can I do for 2026? I want to do a month ahead. I want to do I'm so excited. Like, I've been watching these people on YouTube forever. That's another thing I left out. Budget Treasures. She stands out the most that I've watched. There's some other budgeters. I kept watching them. I kept absorbing information on ways to save. Like, even if you think you've heard it before, somebody might say it a little bit different that reaches you. And I just kept, along with working on myself, mind, body, and spirit, which I've been doing for a little over 3 years now. It's all coming together, and I'm so happy that I finally reached this goal, because things are going crazy. The government was just shut down for like 40 plus days or something crazy like that. You never know what can happen, and as a single parent, I need to be prepared. So this is just the first step. I'm not stopping here, but I wanted to stop and acknowledge this huge accomplishment. Hey y'all, I want to interject, because as I was watching back my video, as I was going to edit it, I noticed that I was leaving out some key points because I was super excited about reaching the goal, but I don't want to leave out certain key points. So I'm just going to jump in with these, kind of more of the order, because I've watched tons of budgeting videos. And my number one thought as a person who has struggled financially being a single mother is, I want to save, but like, I'm hearing everything you're saying, but that's not helping me. That is not helping me start, to be able to start saving when I can barely pay my bills, right? When I'm living paycheck to paycheck. So that's why I wanted to go more specifically in like what kind of started moving the ball for me. So I did start budgeting. I left that out. So around September 2023, I started to do a bi-weekly budget. It was really informal. It wasn't like a fancy little booklet. I literally took little sheets of paper from a notepad, and I just started writing down all my bills that I had due for that 2-week period and how much I was bringing in, and I was doing it that way. It wouldn't always balance, but at least it was helping me have more of an eye on what was going on with my finances. So I did that. Then I did graduate to probably the end of last year. I actually made a binder, which I'll put somewhere on the screen. I made a nice binder, and I got some templates from, her name is Two Sister Bees. She's another budgeter I watch on YouTube, and she has these nice bi-weekly paycheck budget sheets. So I started using those, and I put them in a 3-ring binder. I put some affirmations on the front, some scriptures, and I proceeded to do that every 2 weeks. So that's a key thing that I start to do to really identify what's coming in, what's going out. And then when I could identify that, I could focus more on cutting unnecessary spending, which I did mention. Also, I started saving a little bit at a time. I don't care if it was $2. Like, I do a Bible trivia thing through my church, and if you get the answer right, they send you a $2 bill. The bishop does. So I would put those away if I would get a $2 bill, or if I got something unexpected in the mail, or if I use the Upside app. So if I use that and I got money back, any little bit I was starting to put it into my savings book. I also got a high yield savings account in a separate bank where I normally bank, and I've done a video on high yield savings account, so I'll try to link that in there. But that will help even a little bit that I'm starting to save to kind of get a little bit of change put on there monthly from the interest. Like I said, I did having that book at home with the cash in it helped to be like out of sight, out of mind. So, and I also automated. That's another thing. So I started automating $50 a month from my regular checking account where my direct deposit goes into the high yield savings. Let me tell you, almost every month I was going back into the high yield savings, pulling it out to pay a bill. So it's not even saying that that won't happen. That was happening. But the bottom line is I still was attempting to start that process. And sometimes I wouldn't take the whole 50. But there was a lot of like having to go in and then trying to put it back. But at least I was starting somewhere. I also called and got some bills reduced. I was able to get my T-Mobile. I have T-Mobile phone bill. I was able to get that reduced by switching to a different plan. And the same thing for my Xfinity bill. I was able to get that down some. Right now, I'm actually in the car because I do Instacart. So I work a full-time job, 40 hours a week. I also do a seasonal job from May to October where I work every Saturday. And then I do Instacart as well on the weekend. So that's why I'm looking really dressed down and don't really have nothing going on with the face and all that, because I'm out here on a Saturday to get some extra money. As a single parent, I have had to do what I had to do to make things work. So you see a trend here. I'm really putting in the effort to generate extra income and also to reduce my spending at the same time. I also had a bad history, which I can go into another video, of payday loans. Payday loans have wrecked and ruined my life for as long as I can remember. And for the first time also this year, I was able to, after paying and paying and paying, get from underneath them payday loans. And I promised myself that I would not take out another one. I don't care how tempting they are. And the emails and the mail that I get, like, oh, you qualify for $500. No, don't do it. Please, if you can avoid it. I know there's times where that's the only choice because that's where I was. But in the long run, it hurts you so bad with that high interest. And then I also reduced, I received a small settlement. So it's always good to check those settlements like that they have that come out periodically, like lawsuits. And so if I would get like a little $20 check or $30 check, I would stash that. And I also received a blessing from a friend who helped me out because I was facing a disconnection notice. And that was just earlier this year. So I wanted to pinpoint some specifics that helped me start the ball rolling, and then to keep, I implemented these practices going forward as far as the techniques that I mentioned to help me to build a savings. So when you're determined, when you make a clear decision, you will be surprised at how much you will, like, ideas that will come up and you're like, look, I'm doing what I can to make this work. My camera ran out of rooms, but I just want to encourage anyone who may be, single parent, low income, whatever it might be, because it's not like I'm balling out of control, just to come up with a plan, decide, make a plan, stick to your plan, ignore anything that doesn't align with your plan, and don't give up. And you will accomplish your goals too. It may be slow. It may be a slow process. It's taken me almost a whole year, but guess what? I did it. And I'm going to do some more. So stay tuned, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, share, and follow. And please subscribe if you haven't already.